Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing the December Shop My Stash, but beforehand I usually do a recap of all the products that I pulled in the previous month. So that's what I'm going to do now. Hopefully this is a really quick recap, pardon the ring light glare and all of that. I would love to do this with natural lighting, but it just didn't work out today or this week because work has been crazy, and when I get home I'm exhausted. When my energy picks back up, it's usually darker, so that's why we're kind of just getting it in now, but hopefully you don't mind. Okay, the chocolate bar palette really does not need any introduction. We all know this one. I had this in for 2 months just to get a little bit more use out of it because I've had it now for probably like 4 years now. First month in, which was October, I was really trying to get use out of the brown shades more. In November, I was, hitting up the shades that I didn't use as much, like Gilded Ganache and Candied Violet and Champagne Truffle. And I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't gravitating towards this palette at all the second month. I was more into the other shades that I pulled in for the month of November. Reason being, I think it's just like a really brown palette, and sometimes I just don't want to wear that much brown. I don't know. I mean, I can always mix colors and everything and switch it up, but this shade is not good. I do not like Candied Violet. I don't know if it's just how I was applying it, but I found there was a lot of fallout, didn't really have a lot of pigment. Maybe I just need to use a different primer, but yeah, just like, yeah, I still like this palette, but I'm not as excited by it as I assumed I would be trying to use it. I could always use a brown palette, so I mean, I'm not going to declutter it or anything, but it's there for me to use. This one was in a project pan, so I was using that way more than everything else, but I probably touched upon all the other shades maybe like 3 times each-ish around, roughly. This little trio of purpley cranberry colors are by MAC. We have Star Violet here. This is Sketch. And this one is Cranberry, and I got decent use out of all 3 of these over the month. I was really intentional about that, like making sure that I get to use these more because I just don't throughout the year. They're all decent. The Star Violet does not come off this dark on the lid at all, but I kind of like that because it's, a little bit easier to kind of wear during the day, like for a wash of color. Sketch was cool too. I appreciate like a darker, more matte shade. This one, Cranberry, was really, really nice to use as well. This is just like a reddish kind of color, but not super reddish. It has like a pink undertone, so that's really nice too. So enjoyed using all 3 of these. This blush, Golden Pink right here, I pulled that one in. It's a really old CoverGirl shade that I have. That was fine. Not like anything special in my opinion. This is the Cargo Blush with no shade name, which is really weird, but it's like a blush highlighter. And I was able to use this a couple times. I had this in a project. That's why you see pan there. And I still think it's a lovely blush. I actually used both of these blushes 7 times, which is pretty good, especially because I have another blush that I'm trying to pan, so that's good enough for me. Still like those, but yeah, they're getting old. Going back to eyeshadow, this is Pebble by Bareminerals. Here it looks very unappealing, but it actually is a really nice eyeshadow. It's just kind of like a light brown kind of color. Does not sound that exciting, but it is enjoyable to wear. Yeah, I only got to this one like 4 times, but I still like it. It's Truffle by Ulta. Yeah, this one is still really, really nice. Had this forever. It was in a project pan. I would not have panned this otherwise if it wasn't in a project. So, but it is a really nice eyeshadow that I still want to use and, eventually get more use out of. But I did use this 3 times. That's not a whole lot, but I'm happy with it still. Still like it. I depotted this one, so that's why it looks a little bit more beat up. This is the Revolution Iconic Lights and Contour palette. It was nice to use this when I wanted to take a break from my contour stick, and I don't typically use the top powders much at all, but I found myself like using it more to mix with the bronzers if I felt they were a little too dark, or setting my under eye because I just got a new concealer and I was trying to test it out with that. This is the highlighter that I used, which actually looks really pretty here now that I'm swatching it. I typically go for this one, so funny that I was reaching for this one more. I don't know what that's about. I feel like this would be a good candidate for like a project because I don't think the pans are too deep. I enjoyed using this more than I kind of let on in the beginning. So I forgot this eyeshadow. This is the Truffle Eyeshadow by Ulta, and just a really nice eyeshadow. So I enjoyed using this about 3 times. This is the NYX Butter Gloss in this shade Ginger Snap, and I don't know. Using this to kind of mix with another NYX lip gloss that I'm trying to pan. So I don't have enough free hands to swatch this at the moment. It looks basically like it does inside the tube there. A little too brown for me. I'm not even sure if I'm like into this type of brown. However, I don't have a lot of shades like this, but it's just not a favorite of mine. It's not one I really care for that much. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually I declutter this because it's just a little too dark and not the kind of brown that I really like on myself. It was kind of a trendier type of shade at one point, actually. But aside from that, it doesn't look bad, but I feel like I like other browns on me a little bit better that aren't as cool toned kind of a thing. So something to keep in mind. I wore this about 4 times. This shade is called Berry Sinner by Lipstick Queen. Again, apologize I can't swatch it for you, but I'm sure you saw it if you saw my last shot my stash. I did only wear it 2 times, which is not that disappointing to me because it's not like I expected to wear this a whole lot. But yeah, very pretty vampy color that I was just happy to wear it all. So still like that one. I have MAC Craving right here, which is a really pretty pink, which is not picking up as well as I would like it to on camera, but this is a nice pink that I was able to combine with other colors and wear on its own, which it looks a lot brighter than it looks here in the tube when applied. Sorry, I keep like swiveling it in and out, but I wore this about 7 times, so got decent use out of that. But I'm happy to kind of put it away for a little bit. All right, this is the NYX Lip Lingerie in the shade Push Up, and I just wanted to make sure this still performed okay, and it does. I used this 9 times. I still really enjoy it, even though it is older. Yeah, it's still working pretty well. I can see through the tube a little bit more now, which is pretty cool. It means that I'm definitely using it a lot, so that's a good sign. Maybe I'll try to work on this guy next year in a project or something, but definitely thinking about it since it's still, you know, still working, but again, getting older, so enjoyed that. This is the MAC eyeliner in Prunella. This is just like a purpley brown color, very pretty. Use this about 7 times, so yay, it's getting a lot shorter, so that's good. That means it's getting used a bit. Yep, so that just wraps up everything I brought in this past month. Let's get into the stuff that I'm pulling in for December. Okay, so here we are back in my little train case here. Okay, side note, I am going to be doing a little bit of a declutter soon, so if you're like, wow, you have a lot of old stuff, I'm like that too, so time to kind of purge some things. All right, let's get focused. So I think I want to pull in probably one of these ColourPop singles. These are the only ColourPop shadows that I have. This one is called Birthday Girl, and well, it's funny because my birthday is actually in December. I just thought about that now, huh? But yeah, this one I'm going to pull in because it is sparkly and festive, and it looks like this. This is really hard to swatch. I think because there's so much fallout. It's not one of those like creamy types of shadows. Well, here it's actually swatching okay, but that's what it looks like. And I only have one hand, so I can't really like wipe it on my arm or something, but it's pretty. I think that'll be nice. Yeah, I don't really do glitter too often, and this is just a great time. So we'll pull in Birthday Girl. Not sure if they still sell that, but we'll pull her in. Let me see. MAC. I'm going to go with the MAC Woodwinked Eyeshadow, which I had in a project not too long ago. I think it was like 5 tries to figure it out a couple months back. And I know it has like some weird texture things going on. I don't think it's because it's old. I think it always kind of looked like that, like these little lumps in there, but I think it still performs okay. Pretty color. It has like this coppery bronzy look. Very, very nice sheen. And I kind of miss using eyeshadows with a really nice sheen like this. I kind of am looking for something, maybe like a metallic eyeshadow palette that has more shadows like this, because I feel like I have a lot of glittery, pearly kind of finishes, but I really want to tap into more of this kind of a look. So I'm going to pull this one in. Okay, would it be totally boring of me to pull in this e.l.f. Mad for Matte palette? For some reason, I can never remember the exact name of this guy. Every single time, without fail, it doesn't matter. I do appreciate the cool tones down here and the basicness of it, even though it is like totally basic. sometimes you just want a regular matte eye, you know what I mean? Yeah, I do not care for these colors at the end. I don't like that like second shade over there. It's like really chalky and doesn't show up, so it's not like the best quality. I think I paid like $5 for this a couple of years ago, so I'm not really like, I'm okay with not being absolutely obsessed, but I would like to get more use on this. So we'll just play around with this. We're going to use it. So this is the Super Fun Night palette by Too Faced. This was limited edition and it came in a set of 3. There are the other 2 palettes right there. And it just makes sense to bring this in. Like, look at the front of it. It's like New Year's, like, why the heck would I not bring this in? And I feel like I brought the same exact one in last year because it just makes sense to. I don't know. I don't know if that's really boring and predictable of me, but I'm going to bring it in again. It has like, you know, your black in there and, you know, some neutrals and some, you know, pretty ones like Tipsy in the middle there, right there on the left is really nice. A fun little thing to bring in that's a little bit more festive. And oh my goodness. I think I'm going to actually pull in the Anastasia palette, the, you know, modern renaissance. Where is that thing? I just had it on my dresser, so I just yanked it down here. So this, I mean, we all know this one too. I was focusing so much on Bonfresco that I kind of just didn't really touch the other shadows, and I just have a real strong pulling to use this more. I don't usually pull this in December. This is kind of one of those palettes that I probably use like around February because of the pink colors, I guess. It's definitely want to use this a lot more in general, but I'm gonna pull this one in too, so if I feel like other palettes need a little more color, I have at least these pink ones. Okay, and I think I'm also gonna pull in this random like Benefit eyeshadow single that they don't make eyeshadows, I don't think, anymore. This is a back in the day shade for me. This one is called Where There's Smoke. And I always love this color. Let me try to swatch it. I think all the swatches from the other shadows are gone. But yeah, that's what it looks like. It's really, really pretty. So that's a nice one, but it's one I just need to use. I know it's really old and expired and all, but I don't go by expiration dates unless I'm personally just over it, which who knows? I might be over this, but that's why we're pulling it in so we can kind of use it and see what's going on with that. But I did like it a lot when, you know, back in its heyday, so we'll see what's going on with that. A lot of my shadows look very similar, like these 3, well no, not maybe this one, but like these kind of look alike in the pan, and then I feel like this color too and this color kind of look similar, so I do want to play a little comparison game there and see how everything looks on my face as opposed to just like in their packaging. So yeah, we'll just play around with these, and I think this will be just fine for December. I do have 3 other shadows in projects right now, and I do also like to get use out of the things that I do pull in. So that'll be that for eyeshadow. Right, here are my lipsticks, and on the top I keep like my nude colors here. And I don't know if there are too many of these that I want to pull in, to be honest. And I kind of want to focus on reds more, but this one I pulled in Push Up last month. So this is Bedtime Flirt, and they look very, very similar in the tube. But for reference, the top one is Push Up and the bottom one is Bedtime Flirt. That's the one I want to pull in. So Bedtime Flirt looks a little bit more peachy, I guess. It's a little bit brighter, it appears, than Push Up, but not by a whole lot. But I do want to get more use out of it. I just want to check up on the formula and make sure it's still good. And then I always like to have a nude to wear because I know I don't wear reds every single day or bright colors. So I think this will be great to use as my nude for the month. And yeah, like I said, it's because it's December. I don't want to have a whole bunch of nudes and discourage myself from using like brighter colors because this is the month to do it. Here are all of like my pink and berry shades, and I think I'm good with this. I don't really think I want to pull in anything from this one. I had Craving in last month, and yeah, I'm just gonna leave it with that. I'm not gonna touch any of those. I really want the reds to be the star of the show this month. Sorry for the dark lighting here. Let me see if I can move this light up a little bit. Yeah, that makes no difference. Okay. Purple I don't really do in December. I'll save that for next time. But this is actually from my mom. This is by Cargo. And I just remembered that Kohl's had sold Cargo for a little bit. They might still. I'll have to look into that. But this is the shade Venice. This is a really pretty cranberry red. It's more of a lipstick than a balm, but it actually looks a little bit like a balm too, like when you wear it. There it is, right there on the top. So it is a little bit more sheer. It vaguely reminds me of Clinique's Black Honey that I used to own, and then I decluttered it because I got really old. So this is a little bit brighter than Black Honey though. Black Honey has more of like a purpley undertone, I think, when you swatch it. So it does look pretty sheer, but it looks a lot more pigmented on the lips. So I do really like this one. MAC Viva Glam is just a classic red. This is one of my favorites in my collection. There it is on the very top. It doesn't look super bright here, but it definitely pops on the lips. Definitely want to take advantage of that color this month. So I'll put that one aside. Is that really it? Okay, now it makes me want to pull a pink out. So maybe I will, just because. I don't know. I'm just also not like excited about any of these. So maybe I'll stick with these for actual lipstick, and then pull in something more pink for lip gloss, even though I don't have a ton of those left either. Oh boy. Okay, so I think this will be okay. This will be okay. And yes, I do have a couple of glosses in projects, so there's that. Okay, so here are the glosses that are not in any projects right now, that aren't on my dresser. So yeah, I did want to focus on a pinker color. This one I'm not crazy about by itself. I decided that, but I think this will mix well with other lip colors and kind of brighten up some of those washed out looking glosses or whatever if I feel like I needed something a little bit more pink. So I'll pull this one in. I think I actually want to pull in this Sigma lip gloss. This is a sample and it's called Lip Vex, and I don't think it has an actual name. Yeah, it just says tint, so I don't know. I don't even know if they make this anymore, guys. I usually pull this out in the spring, so yeah, we're gonna pull this one in just to see what it even looks like anymore. I really like the formula of this. I remember really liking how smooth it was and everything. So yeah, there it is. Ooh, it's like super glossy. It's like a melon color. Again, not something I typically use this time of the year, but whatever. I haven't used it in a while and I'm eager to see how it performs and feels and looks. So I think we are good here with my December lip products. I think it's a pretty good variety. And yes, I do have like 2 or 3 more lip products I'm trying to work on in projects, so I think that's a perfect number. All right, let's pick some blushes. Let me see here. No MAC this time, I don't think. Yeah, these Starlight containers are a little bit old, to say the least, so pardon all the embedded dust and powder. I want to pull this Laura Geller blush in the shade Tartufo in. This I am thinking about decluttering. I mean, it looks nicer on than it does on my finger. Here it doesn't even look like it turns up, but it actually does look like a nice flush on the cheeks. This is a broken blush. Like, it comes out of the container, which is like, in case you didn't know, this was made in Italy. I do like it. I feel like if I wear it, I'm fine with it, but that's just it. I have to wear it. So it is one of those like natural looking blushes, and those are nice to have in a rotation. I usually pull in about 1 or 2 just because I have a project blush going right now. So okay, in this tray, I think I used most of these recently, so I'm just gonna let this one sit. And here, I know these are kind of dark back here, another NYX blush. I actually want to pull in the Glossier Cloud Paints. I pulled this one in not that long ago, maybe like 2 months ago, and then I skipped a month, and I did get these recently, so both of them, I mean, I got like maybe a couple months ago, and they are the newer blushes in my collection, and I don't really want to see cream products getting unused. I feel like with a lot of things that I bought recently, I'm more into using them and not like finishing them, but you know, using them more regularly. I'm gonna pull in at least this one. I don't know about this one. I might hold off on this one for a little bit, but this one I want to pull back in again because I do think it looks nice on the cheeks in this type of weather. It's like a nice rosy You Were Just Outside, which I could probably pull that look off by just going outside and being cold, but not a great swatch. But right here, that top on my knuckle kind of. I'm curious also how this would look on the lips. I'm sure that would be really, really pretty. So maybe we'll experiment with that on the lips as well. I just want to like use them as much as I can, even if I did just buy it. We're here to use things. Okay, and this shade is Bobbi Brown's Pale Pink, which is obviously tongue-in-cheek because this is anything but pale. This is a blue-based pink. It looks almost like fluorescent, but it actually looks really, really pretty and flattering on the cheeks, even though it looks really bright in the pan. So yeah, and it doesn't really go on that pigmented either. Like if you built it up, yeah, definitely. But when you first put it on, it looks pretty natural, which is kind of surprising for a color like this. But I've always loved this, and I've had this forever, as I've had most things in my collection. I got this from one of those cosmetics company stores, and yeah, I really love this, and I just quite frankly don't use it enough. Yeah, I'm surprised I brought in like 3 this month because I usually tend to bring in like 1 or 2, especially with a project blush going. But this is kind of getting dirty, this container, which I don't like that it is. But what do you expect with white? And this one I'm kind of more just, you know, putting this on trial a little bit to see how I feel about it. So I think that'll be more than fine. And yeah, I'm happy with this blush selection for December. All right, this is where I house all my bronzers and highlighters. I pull a highlighter and bronzer in every 2 months because I just don't have a lot of them. And yeah, hopefully you can see it because I changed the orientation of the lightings. This is gonna be a no. That's a bronzer face palette thing by Too Faced. In here, I just pulled in this the past 2 months, so we're not gonna pull that one in, obviously. What other bronzers do I have? Oh, nope, those are highlighters. Okay. Can't believe this is all the bronzers that I have. I have a contour stick that I'm trying to pan, so there's that. But I kind of use bronzers and contours interchangeably sometimes, depending on if the bronzer's not too orangey. Like this one I use in the summer usually because it's so like pigmented and glowy, but I'm just gonna go with the good old Marc Jacobs because this is a bronzer that is not super dark, and I just think it goes well in the winter time with my skin tone. So this is fantastic. I got this almost a year ago now, so I've used it quite a bit, you know, considering we don't have a ton of bronzers here. So I'm excited to pull this one in again. It's just that time, so cool. And for a highlighter, I am so predictable with highlighters because I always pick out the same one at this time of the year. It's always the Becca Champagne Pop because of Champagne and New Year's, and we're predictable like that. I mean, yeah, it's just a favorite of mine and many people. So we love Champagne Pop around here, and we'll continue to use that forever and ever. So there's that. And this is a backup drawer for me. It has, you know, some powders here. As you can see, a backup foundation that wasn't quite the perfect shade match for me, so I will probably use that in the summertime or when it gets warmer, and a pair of just faux lashes that I rarely ever use, and some glue here for the lashes, which I probably should declutter because it's not looking too hot, but not pulling anything in from here because I already have a powder that I like to use for a couple months before I switch it out. So that's that. And yeah, bronzer that I'm using and my highlighter. There's also the Pearl highlighter by MAC that I am trying to hit 50 uses on. So that's on my dresser. So it'll be these items and also the contour stick by Sonia Kashuk. So there you have it for highlighters and bronzers. And in case you didn't know, these are my mascaras, eyeliners, and some brow products in there. In the eyeliner department, this is my newest one. This is by Flower Beauty. I'm gonna pull this in because it is brand new. I just got it right before Black Friday. So we'll pull this one in, and I've used it in a video recently. And honestly, I don't even think there's like any... Oh, I know what I want to pull in, my gel liners. So I just dove back into my train case for these 4 gel liners. These are the only gel liners that I actually own. 3 of these are by L'Oreal. This one is a gray one, and it's called Dark Slate. This one is called Espresso, and this one is a navy one, and it's called Navy. So we're gonna just pull all these in. I never pull in all of my eyeliners like this, the gel ones at the same time, but we're gonna do that. And then Waveline by MAC. This one is pretty cool and not one I typically use this time of year, but we're being wild and crazy in December. This is a violet blue that I can't really quite swatch right now for lack of hands, But yeah, trust that it is a pretty violet blue eyeliner, and I'm excited to use gel liners. I haven't used these in quite a while. They're not bad. But yeah, they need to get used. So we're going to pull in all these and this. And my mascaras, these are the only two that I have, so I just use these interchangeably. This is the Kiko Milano mascara. This is the Luxurious Lashes mascara and the Milani Anti-Gravity highly rated mascara. Love both of these. Alright, so I usually don't talk about perfumes in the Shop My Stash videos. Once in a while I will if I remember. In November, I pulled in both of these perfumes. This one is the Victoria's Secret Intense perfume, which is kind of fruity, but not super fruity. It has a warmth to it that I really like. So this is one of the newer perfumes in my collection. I got this, I think, in 2015 or 16. I think 2016, maybe, I think. Ooh, I can't remember now. And this one is the old school Juicy Couture perfume, and this is super old. It's halfway done. Definitely not a light type of fragrance, but it's nice for this time of year. So I definitely want to use both of these because I am trying to get use out of all of my perfumes and make sure I still like everything and that everything still smells good, which these do. So I'm going to keep these in probably for another month or two, and because this is the time of the year that I like to use these. So excited to pull these two out. So I'm not pulling in any foundations because I only have very few foundations, one or two, so I just use the same ones every time. And same with concealers, I just don't have enough to actually shop a stash. So these are the products that I'm bringing in for the month of December. I'm really excited to use everything. I'm excited to get some use on these palettes. Definitely I'm excited to use something different. Same with all the other products. Very excited. So I think this will be a really good month for makeup. Hopefully I have a nice little variety going. And yeah, so that completes this video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, definitely give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. We'd love to have you on board for all my future videos, which include panning, shopping my stash, and hopefully eventually decluttering because I need to do that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.